Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm giving you a beginner's guide to TCG Card Shop Simulator. So I spent about 50 hours in this game, so I figure I might as well show you all what I learned from it, the good, the bad, and how to earn a lot of money and retain a lot of customers in this pretty nice game. Now, for those of you who are wondering how to build decks in battle, it's not implemented in the game yet, so I won't have anything about that yet, obviously, but if it comes out down the road, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to make a video on it. So to start off, I'm going to talk about why I have this set up, and the good ways to keep customers, good ways to earn money, and just kind of everything that the game has to offer so that there's no confusion. So, get some food, get a drink, sit down, it's going to be a long watch. So to start off, you should have learned a little bit about this game from the tutorial system. So if I repeat some of that, I'm sorry, but it must be pretty important. So right now it's 9 p.m. in game, and that's when the store closes. At this time, any employees you have walk out of the store and drop what they're doing, unless they're at the register, in which case they'll finish the final order that they're doing, and then they'll leave the store. Oh, also, anything that I say in here, I'll try to make sure I show you, either in a clip or in real-time gameplay. So, the main thing you're going to want to have with this game is a lot of variety. Variety allows you to sell more products and allows your customers to be more happy with what they find in the store. Obviously, pricing is also the second most important because if it's something that's too expensive, they're not going to buy it. If it's too cheap, they're going to buy too much of it and you're going to lose profit. So, I would suggest when it comes to unlocking anything, unlock more things for your store. And early on, take about 2 or 3 slots on a shelf because you won't have any way to store your extra stuff. But later on in the game, when you have the option to have personal storage for your display racks, you only have 1 slot because then you'll have a coworker that can go and stock it whenever it gets something removed. Now, if you need to stock something yourself, you just grab a box. Like, let's say here we want to put something, right? Let's grab this box, hit R to open it up, and then right click and fill up as much as I need to. I don't need to fill up that much though. So I'll put that stuff back. Now, when you're trying to adjust the price on the shelf, because these will constantly change, which I'll show you later where you can detect that, you can go here. I typically have everything sold at 10% extra of the market price. So to do that, you can do the market price, you can hit that again, and sometimes it will change, maybe by a little bit, maybe by a lot. But when it's 10% above the market price, I notice a lot of the customers say this is a fair price and they'll buy a decent amount of it. If they say, wow, that's an amazing deal, it's likely too cheap and you'll be losing more profit than you could have gained. If it's too high, they'll say, wow, that's extremely expensive, or do I really want it? And if they don't buy it, then it's likely a sign that you need to lower the price a little bit. So let's go through all the different things you can do on the phone, because that's something you'll normally do once the shift's over. Because at 9 p.m., no one's coming in the shop, although there might be a couple people playing games. That's about it. So when the shop ends, I suggest waiting here for all those customers to leave, because when they finish their games, you'll earn money because they're still playing in your shop. And sometimes they'll go and buy stuff, even though the shop's closed. So don't just hit enter to start a new day when there's still people sitting here. Unless there's only one person, in which case I think it's a glitch still, where one person sits there indefinitely, and they won't leave, and they won't buy anything until you start a new day. But 2 people across from each other, different story. So, the menu. Start off, this is a stock menu. It's the most important menu because you have to have stuff in your store. So you should have most, if not all of these unlocked already, but there's more stuff you can unlock as well. To unlock something, you have to find one where it's got it in green. That's to buy a license. So if I were to buy this right now, it unlocks a license, so then I can buy these and have them in stock. So for example, I'll do that. Now I can buy them in stock with that. Now, I suggest not getting too many of the double quantity stuff because there's not really a point to it. It doesn't save space. The only thing it'll save is having to pick up one big box instead of two small boxes, which early on you don't want to do that because you're going to save all your money so you can buy new things and unlock new stuff. Late game, it's like, is it really necessary? You have people doing it for you. It might barely help you, but not by much. Maybe end game you can do it because what else are you going to spend the money on? But if you're trying to buy stuff, let me make sure I'm buying something that's actually going to be helpful. So like this figurine. Let's go and buy that. Hit however much quantity I want. Add to cart. And then purchase. Once it's purchased, it'll be laying outside. Now I know at least for one full day, these will sit out here just fine. Probably can stay out there indefinitely, but I wouldn't suggest doing it because if I'm wrong and it doesn't work indefinitely, you just lost product for absolutely nothing. Be sure though when you put something new on the shelf that you do set the price because I have a red exclamation point saying that it needs to have a price or people will still buy it. It's just will be for the purchase that would make you lose profit, which is not worth it. Don't do that. Don't fall victim to it. But yeah, on the topic earlier about the double quantity, it doesn't even save you cost. The tax will be the same, and it costs quite literally double this costs as much as one of those, which is the same quantity. So, again, no gain there. But as you scroll down, you'll be able to unlock more stuff when you level up your shop. Shop levels increase when you open packs, when you sell stuff to people, when you do stuff like that in your store. It's going to increase the levels. But in the stock menu, you can unlock epic card packs up to you start with the basic card packs, then rare cards, epic, legendary. They can unlock specific decks. I would suggest unlocking the boxes as well. The boxes are nice because a lot of people tend to buy those as well as a card pack, so you might as well have it for variety's sake. Later on, you'll have different sets. Now, in this game, it looks like that all the cards in the Destiny pack are the exact same as the regular pack. So later on, hopefully they'll have different cards to the game, likely when there's more opportunity to battle. But until then, you might as well keep opening the legendary packs because you'll be getting better cards from them. Which, when you open these cards, let me just show you how you can open them real quick. You can take it off your shelf, you just right-click, you press R so you can open, and hold left-click so you can go through the pack. It'll show you the card value on the right. If it's something above, I believe, $10, it'll flash up for a second. And I'll show you which cards are new to your library, which, when you sell other cards, if you sell the last copy of, let's say, Hydroid on the far right, it'll label this as a new card again, even though it's technically not new. That was about $50 worth for a pack that's $11. So this is an easy way to make money. Vast majority of the time you're going to earn money. On rare occasions, you won't. But once you have those cards, I suggest putting them here. Even these expensive ones that might look really cool down the road, like the full arts, until there's an actual use for them, you might as well sell them so you can get more money in the game and keep progressing. So, you do that. You're going to set it at plus 10% if it has no price. Otherwise, market price and then 10%. You can fill up the whole thing. These single cards tend to get purchased more than anything else. I've noticed that on the regular. Now, also the problem with this shelf, no one will restock it. If you have employees to restock stuff, they can't do it. Since it's your personal library, you have to. Which brings me to one of the things you can build here, which is the personal shelf and the card displays. Those sound really cool, but it's actually got zero use because you can't battle people. So you might as well just keep having shelves so you can sell stuff. But getting a little sidetracked, so that's all the packs. The card stuff. You got accessories here. This is stuff from like card sleeves to cleansers, dice, deck boxes, playmats, binders, etc. It goes on for quite a while. And they tend to be a bit expensive. So it's really good if you can buy it safely, because then you'll have more profit, more money in profit. But if you buy a lot of them and they don't sell, it's awkward because that's a lot of money out. I would also suggest not messing with the figurines until you have a decent amount of booster packs, accessories, and income. Otherwise, it's just not worth it because unlocking these is probably the most expensive. Like 5,000 for all those, 10,000, 3,500, 20,000. This wasn't much, but 20,000, absurd. But wouldn't suggest starting with it. Back to the accessories though, the cleanser. The cleanser is really helpful because in this game there'll be people that walk into the shop, like in this clip, where they walk into the shop with a green cloud around them, meaning they stink. So with that, you're going to make sure you spray them or have a machine that can spray them. Otherwise, customers won't even come into your store because they'll be right here, say, ew, it stinks, and walk away entirely. So if you need to go and spray off a customer, you just be sure you go and right click here, then you hit R, then you hold left click to spray. It can take a little bit to spray them down. So you can also get these machines. If you get the early machines that cost, I believe, 500 each. Yep, 500 each. Then I suggest putting 2 in the doorway, so most likely someone walks in and gets hit by both of those. If you have only 1, it won't do it enough. You'll have to spray them anyways, which is just kind of annoying. So you don't want to mess with that. But it's definitely good for the shop if you do that. Let's check the other accessories to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Even if you have just one color dice, like let's say red dice, there'll be people that come and asking for blue dice, black dice, and white dice, and they'll still be aggravated and dissatisfied, which you'll see in the end of day report later, because they didn't find what they wanted. Reno, BIGG, or Big, whatever you want to call it. This is how you upgrade your shop to where you have more space. Now, that sounds really nice, but the problem is the more times you do that, the more your rent bill increases, because it's accumulated each day depending on the size of the shop. So quite literally, having a small shop is good until you really do need more space for either storage or for shelving. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any sense. You just are losing money for something you're not going to use. And I don't think it brings any more customers in. It might, but it doesn't seem to be a massive amount. So it's really just not worth it. Later on, though, you can unlock Shop Lot B. I haven't done that yet. I could do it right now, but I'm nervous because I'm not sure what the rent cost will be for that added on to this one. Yeah, I missed this earlier. So here, you've got all the things you can buy. With this stuff, you don't need a license. You just buy it, and it goes straight to the checkout. Well, no. When you buy it, it goes straight outside to the street. So be careful in buying it. Also, you don't really have a good place to place it. I don't think you can even place it on the storage racks because they're such big boxes. So be careful with that. I did get a couple small metal racks. They seem decent. For aesthetic purposes, they look like something that'd be in the store. But ideally, the single-sided shelves, they just look really clean and they give you so much storage space. Seems to be 6 spaces with up to 32 per, depending upon the item, of course, which is just, it's a really good price. Later on, I would suggest maybe getting a double-sided shelf. The card tables are nice too. That's your main source of income. I believe it brought up earlier. So have 2 of them though. 2 of them is a good number because if you have a lot of good cards to sell, that gives them options. But also, this is going to be going out like wildfire. And since you're the only person who can do it, there's not really much purpose in adding more unless the prices dip or for some reason no one wants to get those cards. Yeah, I'd suggest placing those right here, just right in the middle so everyone walks into it. And having the shelves on the back because it takes up the least space. Now you can also place tables in the game. This gives you passive income because people are playing in your shop. Now, there's always an event going on. And starting off is going to be the standard event. Cost nothing, $7 per hour unless you make it higher or lower. I would suggest, if you're going to do that, make it $7 an hour or make it $6.50 or $6 an hour, so then you get people showing up and you ensure you get more money. If you make it too expensive, they'll complain and go somewhere else, which not only does that remove your chance at earning money from the tables, it also removes the chance of them buying something once they're done playing, which is a huge source of income. So It's normally good to have it at the highest, but also be sure you read the possible next day effects of what's increased and what's decreased. Prices will increase and decrease based off the events that are going on. Like, for example, with the water cup, water prices go up because, well, they're going to use it for your tournament. While wind goes down for whatever reason, I guess just they had to pick and choose, and that's what they went with. So wind cards are worse. Maybe wind cards are bad against water, I don't know. But I have a golden star, that's just something I like to keep it at. And I keep the price the same so I get my money and people still show up. Now, I like to have 4 tables here because the 5th table won't fit, and it still earns me enough money even from that expensive tournament to where I'm not losing money and people still go and buy stuff. I could put more tables in, but I'm worried that it'll take up too much space. Until I find a better way to set this up, this is as much as I'm going to have for a while. The AutoScent M100 is what I use right now. I wouldn't suggest going to this because it seems like it just has more space as opposed to actually removing the stench from someone in one go. The second checkout counter I haven't found a use for because at this point I have a fast enough cashier, and plus I can do it faster myself to where it's not an issue. You could get the other card display tables, but I'm not sure if it's really worth it. Like, this has 10 card slots for 400, and this has 12 card slots for 2,000. So 2 extra slots for extra $1,600 seems a little strange. I would suggest getting the storage though. I started off with the small warehouse shelves, but once I was able to, the big warehouse shelves have quite literally taken over my store because it doesn't seem to mess with the customers as long as there's an actual path to get around everywhere. So you might as well just have the big warehouse shelves and keep trying to stock stuff here. Yeah, since I have employees that can stock the shelves, these are crucial, and I can just keep one slot on each shelf for a specific item. Different for cards though, because I tend to open those and place them here, and I'll make sure customers still have something to get. Now, I believe the only other thing left is the workbench. I bought this really early because it sounded amazing, bundling up your less than useful cards and selling them in bulk, but really it doesn't have a whole lot of uses. So, obviously you can bundle cards. I suggest keeping at the base to start because I think it has it at 50. I believe it has the below max price of 50 cents or 65 cents or something. So early on, every dollar counts. And minimum cards to remain, I'll probably set it at 1 so it doesn't keep alerting me of new cards. But once you're able to battle, keep it at 4 like it has there because that's probably the number of unique cards you can have per deck. So you're going to want to keep it at 4 at the bare minimum, so you can at least not have to go searching for basics and commons. But I keep it 1, just so I don't keep getting the new notification. When you're doing this, you can choose which expansion you want it to be for. The base is probably the best run for that. Rarity, it really doesn't matter. If it's all worth less than $1, it's probably not that ideal. But yeah, the main use for this is the fact that since these come only from the workshop, the workbench, whatever it's called, and not from possibly a storage rack, I could come over here and place this here. So then when I want to make this just one specific section, rather than having to worry about the stocker constantly putting stuff there as well, or having to not buy stuff so then he doesn't put stuff there, I could just put that there and now it's owned by the bulk box. Sadly, there's no way to remove whatever's there unless there's some button I don't see. So this is the only way to prevent 2 sections being used for 1 item. So it's just a good thing to keep in mind. If need be, you can also remove stuff from the shelf and put it into a box that's empty or that has the same product, but that gets awkward because you can't mix items in the same box. And usually boxes, once you're done with them, like let's say, for the sake of just showing you all things, you just did that, dump the box in the trash. You can throw stuff inside a box in the trash as well, but it just doesn't make sense to do that. Alright, so that was all that. The settings, I suggest low sensitivity because it's way too high, in my opinion. The music, it loops every minute or two, At some point it'll be different, but it'll be different for about 10 minutes real life time, and it'll go back to looping again. So I just turned it off to keep my sanity. Display settings, some people complain that their game struggles, so I guess turn it down to low. I haven't had a single issue, and this is the 1070, which is kind of inferior to most setups, so I don't know. Manage events, I showed you guys that earlier. TCG price, you can go through here to see how everything increased or decreased in price, but the problem is there's so much stuff, especially when you get to cards. 110 tabs of cards, that is a lot to look through. I suggest, again, just coming over here, looking to see how it differs. If it's close, leave it. If it's off, change it. You can go here to hire employees. I would suggest if you're going to hire the two basic guys, make sure you're level 15. Otherwise, there's not really much of a purpose. Otherwise, you're losing more money to them every single day, which just is a bad waste of money. And they're not really the best. As you've seen this specific clip, this character that's got a normal checkout speed is still moving extremely slow. So it's there for when you're level 15 or above, so you can sell stuff and maybe not worry about the customers getting bothered as much about it. But you're going to want to have them both so the whole store can essentially be run and you can just sell cards and buy all the stuff you need to improve the shop. Now, once you get to level 25, this character is amazing because a very fast checkout speed. The checkout speed is the most important in my opinion. You can have 3 slower moving people doing the restocking and everything will be fine. But the checkout speed is extremely important, I found, because it should be pretty easy to tell if you need more stuff. Maybe this guy would be useful as well, but after those, it just has people that are only fast in all departments, which is cool, but you only need them to do one thing. And the final character is amazing, but that's a hefty salary cost. So, just some tips, some tidbits there. Bill payment, every single day you can pay the bill. It says due in 7 days. Usually I'd wait, but if I get to the stage of passive income, which I'm at with this game, where I can literally do nothing and go about my daily life and come back, so there we go. It's all paid the next 7 days. So that's all the stuff on the phone. I don't think there's really much else to discuss before the day begins. But these machines, if you're trying to fill up with cleanser, you have to just grab a cleanser and put it in. There has to be at least one bar that's completely empty. Also make sure you turn it on because it takes a second. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything. Alright, so I believe that's it. Let's start the day. Well, no. Actually, let me stock some stuff before I lose my mind and make mistakes. For whatever reason, this figurine earned me a ridiculous amount when I started getting it. So if you're trying to earn money and you have the ability to unlock it, go for that. Trust me, it will be worth it. Now, sadly, with restocking shelves in this game, if one of the other employees I have sees that something's missing, they'll take stuff out of the box, and then if it's an partially empty box, they'll put it back on the shelf. But right here, you see that there's already a box. So let's take that box and fill things up. And if there's still stuff there, they're just not going to grab this box. It's just going to stay on the corner, so make sure you bring it inside. I don't think that anything will disappear, but it's possible it could after a certain period of time, and I just haven't noticed it. So just don't be lazy about it. It's not worth losing profit for nothing at all. Trying to switch sets, you can hit F to sort the album and select the different expansion you want and then how you want to sort it. Be sure you're checking the prices though, as this is likely not 10% above, and it probably would have sat there an extremely long time, and this would have been about the same exact market price, which would have been pretty awkward. So let's start the new day. So you hit enter. Make sure you hit enter only when everyone is out of the store, minus maybe that one random glitch person right there. Otherwise, you could lose funds, and if they have stuff brought to the counter, apparently you'll lose the items. So make sure that's empty before you hit enter. It'll show you overall everything that happened. People visited, checkouts, dissatisfied. Usually that's based off of not finding what they want, but it could also be because they didn't get checked out at a decent speed, or someone stunk, or just whatever, really. They could be disappointed about a bunch of different things. The main thing to see is the revenue, the profit, and just kind of the cost of everything. Yeah. It's a nice little detailed menu there to show you everything that happened. An experience gain, I didn't tell you this, I don't think. That happens when you open packs, that happens when people buy stuff. I think when you buy things too, to stock the store, it also gives you experience, but you don't want to go too crazy with that. I'll tell you which day it is. First things first, flip around that sign. Trust me, sometimes there's people that are like literally steps away. If they see that, they'll stand there for a second and just completely walk away from the store. Otherwise, they might just literally waltz right in. Light switch, I don't think it matters, but maybe people will be dissatisfied if the lights are off and it's dark. It would not surprise me too much. Let me just give you a heads up on how it would work with hiring an employee. You'd have to make sure to click on them and tell them what to do. But if you just hire them for the first time, they're going to be at their resting spot, which will likely be somewhere right here. And you're going to have to click on them and tell them what to do. Right here, I'd say restock shelves. I have empty shelves, so he's going to ask about that. I tell him no and go about our way. Now, you see this customer is still stinky. It's because he walked in next to another stinky person, so you gotta be careful. That guy, the first person you get, for some reason always shows up late, but he's worth $50 a day, so it's really not that bad. And mainly they're gonna sit here, you're gonna keep adding cards here, and you're gonna keep opening packs until there's more options on what to do with the game. Stocking on occasion, but mainly just buying stuff, opening packs, and placing cards here is what your whole day is gonna look like. And if you have a slow register person, helping them out to make sure that they can speedily get through all the customers. But yeah, I think that does it for the beginner's guide. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Subscribe to the content really did help you. I'd really appreciate it and really help out the channel. I do plan on making more videos for this game, whether it be short form content, medium length content, and hopefully eventually making guides on the battling in the game. I also plan on making a review too. But consider liking the video if you liked it, and I'll see you all next time.